And 3, 2. Let it go. Jayla. Let it go.
All right, I'm good.
Sound of speed. Camera speed. 3, 2.
When I first met Mickey, she didn't know me, but I knew her. She graced my TV screen with that unforgettable quote, "Shout out to my peaches in the A." She wore bold colors. She had this glowing skin and this confidence that felt familiar. I tuned in every week rooting for her, and she felt like someone that I already knew. So much so that I was calling this lady my cousin, even before I even spoke to her. After the show, I did something vulnerable. I reached out. I told her the truth. I told her that her presence mattered, her personality, her spirit, her honesty left an impact on me, and that I didn't want to just interview her. I needed to know her. And I'm glad she said yes, because before we even recorded, she talked to me for about 45 minutes, and I told her my intentions. I told her why this show matters, why this show existed, and why she was meant to be here. Now, to be honest, I was buttering her up a little bit, and I think she enjoyed it. I know she did. The last time we spoke was around Thanksgiving, and I wished her luck on the mac and cheese. And if you live in a Black household, you already know that the Mecca is the mac and cheese. So to be trusted with that responsibility told me everything I needed to know about her. Mickey was that girl. She was someone you could trust. She was someone that you loved. She was someone that people felt safe with. And the outpouring of love from her castmates, from her fans, from her family, it confirms what we already knew. That her spirit is bigger than this moment, bigger than this room, and bigger than this life. Today's episode is not just a tribute, it's a promise. Before Mickey passed, we recorded a conversation about producing vulnerability and what it means to show up honestly, even when it costs you. We laughed, we cried, and now I'm honored, truly honored, to share her final interview with the world. So let this not be in vain. Let this be remembered, because we owe it to Mickey Lee. This is Reality Redefined, and this is Mickey's legacy. I'm about to fire this whole team. I just broke my ring, y'all. It's okay. It's from China. What's it called? Parcar. Did I say that right? Okay, I got it right. That's
I ain't gonna say shit this time. I was like, ah! my daddy would be proud.
I'm gonna get it right in the next take, I promise.
That sounds good.
All right.
Better than
Let's do it.
You're listening to Reality Redefined, the podcast. This is Reality Redefined, where the only script is the one you create. Hit play and let the reality revolution begin.
Welcome back to a brand new season of Reality Redefined. I'm your host, Jayla Roxx, and if you thought season 1 was a moment, let me tell you, season 2 is a movement. This season is double the guests, double the fun. I'm talking bigger conversations and a whole new level of access. I've expanded the table to reality stars, industry insiders, creatives, executives, and voices you don't usually hear, but absolutely need to. And let's talk about the visuals for a second, okay? Because this year, I'm turning some looks. The set is elevated, the energy is elevated, and the intention is even higher. Reality Redefined has never just been about tea. It's been about truth. And today's episode is one of those moments. We're producing vulnerability, the kind that doesn't perform, that doesn't hide and doesn't apologize. The kind of vulnerability that changes how you move, how you speak up, and even how you show up. So wherever you're watching from, I want you to sit back, I want you to relax, get comfortable, because this episode is special. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get honest, and most importantly, let's get it poppin'. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Reality Redefined. And guess what, y'all? We made it to season 2. I am your host, Jayla Roxx, and I am at the world famous Westcar Studios. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You all are in for a treat today. I wanted to start the season off with a bang. Earlier, I had the chance to sit down with someone whose presence is powerful, honest, and impossible to forget. Now, y'all might remember her from Big Brother 27.
You want Keanu out of this house? No, he has to go. My second statement, Rachel's gotta go as well.
Whoa. I did not sign up to be in this war with Rachel, okay? I'm good with Rachel. Mickey steals one HOH and now she wants to control all of them? I'll tell her what she wants to hear right now, but I have to watch out for this. This is not in my best interest.
I want both of them out. Over HOH.
That's
Gunning.
Always.
Gunning. It's not about that, Ashley. I'm saying actually, we have to.
What are we actually doing here? This is not the mafia. I am not going to schedule a hit on Rachel Riley. I am great with Rachel. I've been great with Rachel since day one. That is your issue with Rachel. I'm working with Mickey. I'm close with Mickey. But Captain Will is nobody's minion.
My girl was bold, she was strategic, she was unapologetically herself. But what truly stood out was everything that came after the game. The growth, the reflection, and the courage to tell her story in her own voice. I'm talking about Mickey C. Lee. Mickey joined me to talk about what it really means to be vulnerable in a world that profits from perception, how she found peace in authenticity, and how she continues to represent the beauty, the power, and the complexity of Black women in reality television. The vibes were real, it was inspiring, and it reminded me why I started Reality Redefined in the first place. To celebrate the people behind the headlines, the hearts behind the headlights. So I want you guys to sit back, grab your popcorn, your wine, your Pinot Grigio, and enjoy this conversation with the one and only Mickey C. Lee. From bold moves inside the Big Brother house to bold conversations outside of it, Mickey C. Lee has never been afraid to stand in her truth. She's confident, she's candid, and she's constantly evolving. A storyteller, a creator, and a reminder that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's power. Redefiners, please help me welcome the Mickey C. Lee. Hi, beautiful, how are you?
Hi, gorgeous. I'm exceptionally well. How about yourself?
I am fantastic. First of all, thank you so much for being here with me and opening up this season. So look, whenever I introduce you, I have to put the C in Mickey C. Lee, right? Because that's the vibes. The C to me stands for culture curator. I mean, you are known for the vibes, right?
That is very correct. Yes, my mom will be very proud of you for even guessing that on the first try.
I love it. Now, speaking of this whole vibe curator, I want to get to know the architecture of your whole aura, if you will, okay? When did you realize that you had this superpower, realizing that your energy was your superpower?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say, I think I realized it very young. I think before I even had like a language for it, before it even had a title. I was always the person who could walk into a room and shift it without even having to say too much. People have always really naturally gravitated towards me. I was kind of that girl that was always doing the organizing of the groups, setting the tones, making people feel safe, trying to get people to loosen up. It was my intention, plus I would say my intuition, that allowed me to understand that, this is more than just something I do, but it was kind of more of like a purpose, something that God gave to me to be able to do and execute.
So when you lead with these things, right, I'm sure it takes like a whole bunch of preparation to be emotionally prepared for these things, right? It starts with that, who's all gonna be their text message. You know what I mean? Before you realize what mental capacities you're gonna go through, right? So how do you prepare yourself emotionally before you get into these spaces and lead with such influence?
You know what? Okay, so the first thing that I do, and I tell like a lot of people that ask me this question, the same thing. The first thing that I do is I center myself. And centering myself for me is just making sure that my energy is aligned. Because if my energy isn't aligned and I'm walking into a room, the entire room is going to feel it and it's going to feel off. Because as a vibe curator, as an experienced curator, experienced architect, whatever, like your energy goes into your product. And my product obviously is allowing people to have exceptional experiences. And if I don't feel good, then the people in the room are not going to feel good. So before I walk into anything, an event, a meeting, an appearance, anything, I have to pause, I breathe, I pray, and I remind myself that I'm walking in my purpose, like I'm doing something that, you know, is going to touch others, even if I'm tired, if my back hurts, whatever, right? I have to remind myself of that because this is that one opportunity I get to touch another person, and I have to make sure that that one experience that they might ever have through me has to reflect what it is that I do and why I'm doing it. So that's the biggest thing. So I show up very grounded and I let everything flow from there.
You know, girl, I need to take a page out of your book because your awareness is just so powerful. Like, let's face it, you lived in a house in the summertime with so many different personalities, so many different smells, I'm sure. And the energy was definitely shifting like week to week. So what is something, you know, that instantly shifts your energy for better or for worse?
So music always gets me where I need to go. And I have to shout out my grandfather, obviously, who's passed away. May he rest in peace. He introduced me to my love of music. And I use music, you know, to uplift my spirit. It allows me to, again, center myself. And so that normally moves me for the good. I can play a song and immediately go to the moment where I heard it. And I feel the same feelings that I felt when the song was playing, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? And then I think things that can shift me for the bad. Ooh, that's a good question. Maybe like disconnected energy, bad energy, you know, bad moods, bad attitudes. I feel like because I do try to show up on purpose all the time on purpose. And when I enter, you know, certain rooms or I interact with certain people, and if I feel like they're being like such a downer or they're very negative or negate experiences, situations, or speaking very ill of certain things, I think that can change my mood for the worse. I think it can kind of make me shift a little bit. And maybe not in a way to where I'll be negative towards them, but it kind of will just kind of turn me off. And I'm just like, ooh, okay, let me move this way instead of over here by you. I think that's definitely something that throws me off a little bit because it's just like, okay, come on now, don't be a negative Nancy.
It reminds me of that meme, you know, the SpongeBob meme, all right, I'm about to head out.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out. Yeah, it's like, it's something about like fake energy or just not good energy that throws me off because, you know, like I'm sure you've experienced this as a human being, like when we're around people, we can feel when energy is not good. Even like a baby, right? When babies, they've done this thing where they sit babies in people's laps. And like they'll put the baby in the lap of a person that's really smiling and like giving great energy. And then they'll put the baby in the lap of a person that's frowning and the baby will start crying. It's because we know innately, we know when something is off and it throws us off too.
You know, dogs are like that too. I mean, my dog, she like everybody, but she don't like everybody. She's kind of she's a little finicky, you know?
They're hip.
Yeah.
They know what's going on.
While we're still on the topic, when I first saw you on Big Brother, I instantly was like, I don't know who this lady is, but it was somebody that I had to get to know. Like I told you when I was meeting with you earlier, I swear this is my cousin. You have this very good vibe about you, this welcoming energy. And a lot of people say that it's this whole like Southern upbringing things, you know, that Southern charm that we have. And you surely did, for all the peaches in the A. So how does your Southern upbringing, because I know you're originally from Jacksonville and then you moved to Atlanta. How does that influence the way you connect with people?
I actually really like this question. I think for me, okay, let's be honest, being from the South is just a whole thing in itself. Because like obviously being in the South, it teaches you hospitality. Like that's the number one thing we're big on in the Southern areas of the world. So it teaches you hospitality, it teaches you warmth. And it also teaches me how to read people beyond their words, right? You know, I'm able to read actions very well. And so I think my upbringing, I think it taught me to look people in the eyes, obviously, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, but just treat every person in the room like community. So like we're big on treating people, you know, like they did you right the first time before they even get to do you wrong. And I think that kind of helps me be very approachable and then also very discerning. So I think my Southern upbringing kind of created like a little melting pot of all those things for me. So definitely hospitality, being very warm, treating people very much so beyond their words, treating them like community. I treat people like family way before they can stab me, obviously. So a lot of times I treat people like family much sooner than I should because of that Southern upbringing. But I think that's definitely what I got from that.
Basically, long story short, just say like, I was raised right.
God forbid my mama raised me right. Exactly. And people like me. I feel like I said that in Big Brother house. But yeah, God forbid, right? That I have manners. And my parents didn't play that, okay?
See, you get it. Now, I want to shift gears, okay? Being in the spotlight, being in this whole fishbowl of experience that you did, a social experiment, if you will, there's a lot of vulnerability that needs to be produced, right? Especially when you try to like gear up for it as much as you can. You have this mentality like, I'm going to try to say this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to say things this way, I'm going to turn this way. And you had no choice but to be vulnerable, right? So not just in the public eye. What do you think vulnerability looks like for you on any average day for Mickey Lee?
I would say on the average day for me, vulnerability looks like honesty, which might sound so silly, like, girl, what? Like vulnerability to me, it looks like honesty. So it's just admitting like when I'm tired, being able to actually, communicate that I'm not feeling it today, or, hey, you know what, today I need this. Hey, today I'm feeling a little down or I'm feeling a little defeated. Do you mind doing X, Y, and Z? I feel like it's being able to communicate those things, being open and honest with myself, like when I'm hurting, when I'm tired, when I need additional support. And I think that's being really vulnerable. I think it's letting people that are the closest to me, letting them know, when I'm not in a good place or when I am in a good place or, whatever that looks like. And I think vulnerability is actually sometimes choosing softness, even though like it's easier sometimes to just be strong and hard and, like really stoic. I think that is vulnerability to me on a day-to-day basis. And honestly, I won't even say kudos to me for figuring that out on my own. I'm a big advocate for mental health and therapy. And so I have a therapist, of course, and that is something that she has been able to teach me or, help me come to fruition with that. That is what vulnerability should look like for me. And I think it helps me a lot. And I've grown tremendously from just being able to say, hey, I need help.
I'm so glad you said that because there's this thing that we have to decenter, like this whole idea of being a strong Black woman, right? And you touched on it earlier when you said you're in your soft girl era. Like they always want you to be strong, stay strong and do this. And why we always got to be strong? Why can't everybody else be strong? Why can't everybody else take the load off of us for once? Do you ever feel that pressure, especially being like, you're in the public eye, you're in the public phase. Do you ever feel that pressure to be strong instead of being in that soft girl era? And if you do, how do you balance all the shenanigans and the quantity of it all?
Great question. So one, absolutely. I think as a whole, Black women, we are conditioned to be the backbone, the fixers, the strong friends. But I am learning there is strength in being very soft. There's still strength. I think that being strong isn't always loud. Strength isn't loud. So I think strength sometimes is just choosing softness and knowing that I'm still safe. And I also think that strength is being able to hold both masculine and feminine energy without feeling like I'm doing too much of the two, So for me, that's what I do. Like to balance the two, I pick and choose what's required of me in that moment. But for me, I always try to lean more towards soft than quote unquote strong, just because I do think that strong comes with a lot being strong, right? If you think about it, someone holding up something for so long, it comes with what? Back pain, neck pain, knee pain. You're tired. It's like all these different things. But I've never heard anyone say that they are super tired from being soft. So that is the avenue that I choose to go down every single time because I know it works better for me. And I know how to show strength through my softness. So I think when some people are able to master that, it still reads the same.
I would say that the recipe is good vibes, good spirit, and cocoa butter. And shea butter too, all of it. Just mix it all in.
Right. And then your grandma's recipes. Just mix all that together and I feel like you're good. But I don't think that I have to be overly strong anymore. But it is a requirement. And sometimes naturally we're just strong. I love us as a people, as women. We get it done.
I think that's all part of the healing journey too. Like we're always saying healing isn't linear, right? It's always something that layers, you know what I mean? And it reminds me of the movie Shrek, when he says, we have layers, people got layers, and you know what else has layers? Watching your Instagram, I have to say, Mickey be outside. And that's a good thing. A lot of people think being outside is a bad thing. Like when I see your story, you're at the basketball game, you're at the Outkast concert, even, you're You're at all these great things, and all these things that you've done is part of the aesthetic, right? And I was telling you earlier when I got to meet you prior to this, is that your aesthetic is very intentional. Everything that you wear, every color that you put on, like, it's a whole color story. You are the visuals, okay? So let's get into it. I want to know, how do you find that visual language that we call expression?
I like to basically walk into a room and be able to say I'm here without having to announce myself, if that makes sense. So something that says all of those things at once. So I feel like everything I wear tells like a story about my mood, my confidence, or like whatever version of myself that I'm choosing that particular day. Because again, there's different days and different versions. So I think that'd be the best way to describe that. Yeah, little silhouette, some nice little silhouettes, a little texture, a little luxury, and then still a little, rough, all intertwined to make it a thing. I feel like people think it's way more defined by looking at me than what I really even have in my mind.
Even what you have on today, you have the different prints on, that's intentional. You have the nice V cut, the color tones are cohesive. You have this lip color story. I mean, I can go on and on and on because maybe I'm flirting with you a little bit, but I think it's okay.
Okay, girl, it's okay. No, I don't know. I've always been like very expressive in just like what I wear. And as you get older, your style changes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people say like, oh my gosh, too much color sometimes is just too flamboyant. It's too young, like young coded or whatever. But I love a good color. I like subtle color. But one thing I always want to exude is a little bit of class. Like I always want to look like someone's, rich husband's wife. Okay, I'm not married, but of course I always want to give that. But I also want to give like, yeah, this is this rich man's wife, but she like a little pop of color too. She might throw a little grill in there one day with a ball gown. That's kind of what I like to give.
I'm definitely looking forward to the lookbook from Mickey C. Lee, okay? Because you always turn a look, okay? I love that about you. Listening to you talk and listening to you exude all of this femininity is giving cozy. It's giving Beyonce cozy, okay? Comfortable in my skin. So when do you feel the most confident in your skin? When does Mickey feel cozy? Like, what are you wearing? What's the mood? What's the vibe? Like, when is Mickey confident as Mickey?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, I'm the most confident and comfortable being myself or being in my own skin when I have literally nothing on my face. So bare face, lip gloss. I don't know if anyone knows this about me. Most people do. I am a lip gloss fanatic. My lips always have to be glossed. So I can be bare skin, no makeup, just a clean face, lip gloss applied on my lips, of course, and something that's just soft. So a good, maybe my satin robe is my best friend, my satin robe, my slippers, some extra thick socks.
Okay.
And maybe a glass of wine. That's when I feel the best. And perfume. I always have to smell good. That's it. Skin glowing just a little bit, a little gloss, good perfume, and honestly just a space where I can just be, which more than likely is my living room. And if you're listening to the music, it's going to be a little bit of Amapiano, some Afro beats, and maybe a little Etta James. That is where I feel just the sexiest ever, in my own space, in my own skin, and with really nothing on me, just feeling free as I can, honestly.
You say you love perfume and you have perfumes. Like, what is Mickey's go-to scent? If you don't mind, not gatekeeping for the girls.
I am a patchouli, a musk, a cinnamon, sugar mixture. So I am a candle fanatic. So I literally, my candle budget is crazy. So I do candles every month. That's how much I use my candles. And so I go to multiple different stores to get candles. I even go to Burlington. I go to Burlington, Marshalls, and I just stock up. So normally I do gatekeep, but I will not gatekeep in this moment. So the number one rule for me is layering. So I believe you have to obviously apply scents in different moments to make sure you get that good smell. So I start with the shower. So as soon as I get out the shower, I use a body oil. So I use a body oil and I put perfume into the body oil and mix it. So this body oil I use, I don't know if you can see it, but it is cashmere body oil. It's vanilla cashmere by EOS. Amazing. It smells so good. But I pour Versace crystal in here, and I shake it up, mix it really good. And so every time I get out the shower, body is wet. I cover myself in this first, right? I let myself air dry. And then I come in, obviously, with just a very staple blend. And so I do vanilla, which is vanilla parfum. So I use this, and then I spray, obviously, in certain areas. A lot of people always spray all over. It's no, I spray behind my ears, and I make sure I apply the oil in the certain spots that I want to put it. So I put it behind my ear, behind my knees, my ankles. I put it here and behind my neck. And so I spray that there, and then I go over all of those spots with my base, like my heavy perfume. So in this instance, when I do this mixture, I normally do Valentino, or I'll do YSL Libre. Those are my two faves. And I'll be honest, no lie at all. Anywhere I walk, any room I walk into, everyone's like, oh my God, you smell amazing. That is my top compliment. That's the top compliment I get in life, that I smell so good, from everybody, men, women, children. I'm sure dogs could say it if they could speak, but yeah, it's that good. So I swear by it.
All of that just sounds so yummy, because I knew it. I knew you smell good, because I'm like, when you said behind the ears, I said, oh yeah, your grandma taught you something good, okay? It's a game changer for sure. Now that we're talking about it, let's talk about it. I want to dispel a rumor with you really quickly. Since we're getting to know each other, outside clothes, do they belong on the bed or absolutely none at all?
Girl, absolutely not. Never, ever. And whoever says it's okay is crazy, in my opinion. You can tell them I said it. I do not believe in outside clothes on the bed.
Yeah.
I barely believe in outside shoes in the house, to be honest. And I do think there's some circumstances where you can't take your shoes off, and I understand that wholeheartedly. But outside clothes should never be in your bed. I'm sorry. I don't even go into my room with my outside clothes. Like if I'm done for the day, I walk up my stairs. I'll go to my laundry room, take off my clothes. I have a robe in my laundry room. I'll put that on and go into my room, just to even just separate the two. Because we sit in so much stuff. You at the doctor's office, the restaurants. People are not that clean. There's germs everywhere. And I think people forget that, COVID, it did exist amongst so many other things that we don't even know about. So I keep those so separate. Oh my gosh.
I know you were having a fit when you saw those people in the house just, can we talk, Mickey? And then just plop on the bed after they've been outside. I know it.
Yes, it became a thing, actually. Like, people just didn't care. Even the HOH room. Like, people will come, when we're doing, we would do lockdowns and all that stuff, and people would all pile into the bed, with their clothes that they've had on all day. Now, granted, obviously, the only place we go is the house. So we're in the house all day. So we're not super dirty. I will give us that. But not everybody bathes on a daily basis. So that would be an issue for me as well. So, yeah, no, it was disgusting.
So one fun fact about me is I collect Funko Pops. I have it where I like to call it the Black Ladies of Excellence, So I have Lupita from Black Panther. I have Jonna from Star Wars. I have this character, her name's Jayla from Star Trek. And I also have my favorite one, Sugar Mama from the Proud Family. And next to that is definitely the supermodel of the world, RuPaul. So all of these Black Ladies of Excellence that keep me moving forward. So if you had your own lineup of Black Ladies of Excellence, who would yours be?
Oh, okay. I think, on my shelf would be my grandmothers. I think both of my grandmothers. My aunt Renee, she passed away. Beyonce. I would have to put Michelle Obama, Rihanna, Debbie Allen for sure. I love Debbie Allen so bad. Issa Rae. Oh, and my mom. Duh, I didn't say my mom. So I think women who basically turn their experiences into art, impact, legacy, those would be the reasons why I would put those women on my shelf. A very powerful bunch of women. I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that.
That is an iconic list. And first of all, I'm glad that you said that, because you got to go with the ones that help guide you to be the woman that you are to this very day. We can't go on without these women. And speaking of these women, what are some qualities you think unite all of the people on that shelf that you named? What are some of the qualities that unite the women that inspire you the most?
I think the biggest thing would be all of the women that I listed. I believe that they all walk in their purpose. And I think they lead with a lot of depth, just naturally, without even having to pull out a whiteboard and point to the board. You can learn a lot from these women just by watching them move. Even like my grandmothers and my late aunt, of course. Qualities that normally I think would unite these women as well is resilience, creativity, emotional depth, strength, softness. Yeah, all those things. I think for sure. I think they all exude those things that I just listed, those qualities. Ooh, grace. That's another one. And courage. We'll add courage as well.
With all of those things, like you mentioned, like grace, courage, strength, how do we teach this younger generation of people that softness can be a form of resistance? You know what I mean? Like being able to see you on screen, you've touched so many different people. Like you are that face, the new face of Black women in television. And so many people can look at you and say, I am the beautiful Black woman with locks. I am the one with expression. So how do we teach those people coming up now that this unspoken, I guess, social responsibility to inspire that comes from you?
How do we teach them? I think the number one way to teach is just by doing. That's number one, right? So just being really mindful. I'll speak on myself. I choose to be really mindful just what I do and how I carry myself, obviously going forward. And my biggest thing is just always having a voice, because I do think a lot of times there's a lot of different platforms and things that exist that try to silence Black women, especially Black women in media. Like we shouldn't have a voice, or they think we should not be speaking on certain things. But always teaching them to have a voice, speak on what's true and what's right, and always stand by the truth in their experiences, which is what I've done since I've gotten out of the house, and remain classy. So I think the biggest thing is just to show them by doing the work and doing what I'm doing. I think that will just be a playbook for others to look at and apply, where they feel like it needs to be necessary when it comes to their life. I think that's the biggest thing that we can do. Just do. And I think others will follow, and they'll create their own playbook as they go, and maybe take parts of yours that they need and parts of someone else's, and it'll turn into a beautiful thing of their own. I think that's the best way to go.
Well, baby, listen. You are doing it, and you are doing it and doing it and doing it well, okay? A lot of this, like you said, you are moving through space and moving through this whole life, navigating it with new eyes. That is why this, as I was telling you earlier, this episode is important, especially needed at the top of the year. People aren't listening right now, but when the time comes, the words will be so valuable. Trust me. Especially watching this episode back, you're going to find something about yourself that is going to be something spectacular. And I want to segue this because I always ask, what would your younger self think of the Mickey that we see today?
I think the younger me would thank me for choosing softness. I think that's one big thing because, me as a younger person was very much so operating in a place of just strength and the strong Black woman narrative. I think the younger me would thank me for choosing boundaries. I think she would thank me for choosing dreams that I actually care about, pursuing my dreams, walking in my purpose. This is such a great question. I think the younger me would be just grateful that I actually chose to be the woman that I'd always dreamed of being. And that's a woman that's very resilient, very confident, and I know where I'm going. I think she'd be so grateful and thankful to know and see that I'm doing what we said we would do.
That's why we're talking about producing vulnerability, because this is the Mickey Lee that we all deserve, right? I am deeming us officially cousins. And like I said, I wish you nothing but true success. I'm going to check in on you. And when I'm back in Atlanta, I'm ready to be outside, girl. So be ready, okay? We got the lemon pepper hot honey wings and a peach drink, period.
We're here.
So this show is called Reality Redefined, and we have our own definitions. It's subjective, right? So what does redefining your reality mean to you personally?
I think redefining reality personally would mean, I guess, honestly, like designing a life that fits me, that, doesn't include the expectations of other people or what they wanted me to do or what they placed on me. It allows me to create a life full of authenticity and nothing that's forced. And it allows me to create a life based on everything that doesn't include survival, right? I think that is what that looks like for me.
And to close things off, we reached the end. I wish we could talk all day, but we can save it for the group chat. So be looking out for that. But as we leave, and as we close out with today's show, what do you hope people will remember most about your energy in this world?
I really hope that people remember the most that I made them feel seen. I want people to feel that I brought warmth and tension everywhere I went. And I will say at the end of the day, or at the bottom of it all, that I was just real. Like I was real. I might have, said something that they didn't want to hear, but at least I was honest, I was direct, I was transparent, and that I at least created spaces where people could show up as their true authentic selves when they had nowhere else to go. I think that's what I'd like people to remember the most about me.
Thank you so much for joining Reality Redefined, Mickey. I'm over here teary-eyed.
I'm holding back some tears, okay? Thugs don't cry, and I'm almost there.
Now, we supposed to be some G's, okay? Now, wait a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me for a new episode of Reality Redefined Season 2 on iHeartRadio. Mickey C. Lee is in the building. Mickey, thank you so much. I cannot wait to see what you have coming up in this new year. How can we follow you? How can we keep up with Mickey Lee and be a little nosy too?
So many things are coming up this year. I won't even spoil it for you guys. I would just say definitely follow me on all social platforms. On Instagram, you can find me at the Mickey C. Lee. TikTok at the Mickey C. Lee #1. And of course, the great infamous Twitter, the Mickey C. Lee. And I cannot wait to share and have everyone connect with all the new things that I have going on. Just wait. And I would say expect the unexpected. And of course, shout out to all of my peaches in VA.
And there you have it. Boom. Thank you for holding space for that conversation. Watching it back made me feel so many things. And what you just watched was vulnerability in the purest form. Honest, unguarded, and intentional. And you know what? That was my girl, Mickey. In the days following her passing, we received an outpouring of messages, videos, voice notes, words from people whose life that she's touched that she may never fully know. From her Big Brother family, her friends, her fans, from people who simply felt seen by her presence. I want to thank each and every single person who took the time out to share a piece of their heart with us. As of today, January 17th, we honor our girl. We are officially recognizing it as Mickey C. Lee Appreciation Day. I want to share some of those messages right now, not as a goodbye, but as proof that Mickey's spirit lives on in all of us, in community, in memory, and in truth. Thank you, Mickey, for all that you've done, forever in our hearts.